Hello everyone, it's your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black the One and Only, here with another exciting video. It is 9:59 p.m. Central Daylight Time, Tuesday, October 29th, 2019. We're streaming in Huntsville, Alabama. Well, this isn't streamed, this is pre-recorded. Huntsville, Alabama, as always. Today I'm going to be talking about a comic book event that's coming up where Spider-Man is going to turn into the Incredible Hulk for a one-shot. So there's going to be like a one-issue comic where Spider-Man is the Hulk, and the description for the comic is kind of vague. So what I tried to do is I looked up a summary of like the most recent Spider-Man comic, and I looked at a summary for the most recent Hulk comic, and I've been trying to figure out how these two characters are going to like interact in such a way to where Spider-Man will become the Hulk and it work between these two storylines. To do that, I'm gonna have to spoil the current runs of Spider-Man, I believe Amazing Spider-Man specifically, and Hulk, specifically the Immortal Hulk. So spoilers for those currently ongoing series. So let's start off by talking about Amazing Spider-Man, what's going on in his series. So right now, and this is based off of the descriptions for their latest issues. So I haven't actually read these issues, but let's see what's going down. And it's also based off of news articles because some of this information is going to be pulled from like Comic Book Resource, which is where I learn a little bit more about comics that I don't actually read. But anyways, so Amazing Spider-Man, uh, based on what I read in the description, it seems like Spider-Man is currently locked in a private prison owned by the Roxxon Corporation, and Spider-Man 2099 is currently stuck in the present, like he's unable to like travel back to the future, and he needs Spider-Man's help to save the future from some kind of threat. I think that's all the description said. So Spider-Man in prison, Spider-Man 2099 stuck in the present, needs Spider-Man's help to save the future. Then, based off of a comic book resource news article that I read, talking about what's currently going on in the Immortal Hulk. In the Immortal Hulk, uh, so I have to explain a little bit about the Hulk first before I can really explain what was described in this article. So a lot of people might be familiar with the Incredible Hulk's origin. He's exposed to a large amount of gamma radiation, which transforms him into the Hulk, which is this monster that's powered by Bruce Banner's rage. But there's more to the Hulk than a lot of people may realize. The Hulk is essentially like a split personality of Bruce Banner, but it's also powered by gamma radiation, and gamma radiation has like scientific and magic elements to it in the Marvel universe. There's this thing called the Green Door, which is opened by gamma radiation, and it's essentially a door between our reality and hell. So part of what the Hulk's power comes from is this being called the One Below All. And to explain what the One Below All is, I have to explain what the One Above All is. So in Marvel, the One Above All is a godlike figure, not necessarily Christian God, because I think that's also a separate thing in Marvel. But a lot of times, the one above all is shown to be like the writer of the comic, like the person who's like writing the stories and drawing out the characters. So it's a very like meta interpretation of what a godlike being would be for a comic book. And then the one below all is essentially supposed to be like the dark opposite of the one above all. Think like the devil, but not the Christian devil, because I'm pretty sure he's his own thing in the Marvel Comics universe. So the Hulk draws his power from the one below all, while also drawing it from gamma radiation and being a split personality. Now that we've covered that about the Hulk, let's move forward and talk about what's currently going on in Immortal Hulk based on that comic book resource news article that I read. So, based on that article, the leader, which is a Hulk villain, it doesn't really matter what I'm about to say about the leader. So I mean, it does matter. I'm not gonna go into his background, is what I'm saying. Like, just know that the leader is the one who knows. But the leader is a Hulk villain who has seen the future of the Hulk, and he knows that the one below all is going to possess the Hulk transforming the Hulk into a planet-sized space giant who can punch planets apart. So the leader knows that this is going to happen, and he's pretty much the only line of defense against this occurring. So that's what's currently going on in Immortal Hulk, is that Hulk is destined to become the space giant that can destroy worlds. And he's also going to be possessed by the Not Devil. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to piece together the stuff that we know about Spider-Man's storyline and the stuff that we know about Immortal Hulk storyline and see how they could potentially converge in this comic where Spider-Man becomes the Hulk. So, real quick, I need to give you a little bit more background on Spider Man before we can dive deeper into my ideas. So, in this current run of Amazing Spider Man, there was like maybe a 3 issue arc that explained that Kurt Connors, aka the Lizard, an enemy of Spider Man, who's also a scientist, um, he was experimenting with this radiation splicer device. Essentially, the idea of this device is that it uses radiation to combine the genetics of 2 different creatures. And this is the same device that irradiated the spider that bit Peter Parker and gave him his powers. So he's working with that device, trying to turn it into a radiation desplicer that can separate himself from the lizard so that he can be a normal guy and the lizard can exist as its own thing. So Peter Parker was working with Dr. Connors on the radiation splicer when an accident happens and Peter Parker got split into 2 different beings. He became Peter Parker with all his responsibility but none of his powers, and Spider-Man with all of his powers but none of his responsibility. At the end of that arc, they end up fusing back together using the radiation splicer. You just need to know that because of the storyline that I'm about to paint, trying to connect the Immortal Hulk to Amazing Spider-Man to create this one shot that's going to come out. Because I'm trying to understand why Spider-Man will become the Hulk. So, what I think will happen, Spider-Man 2099 is going to break our Spider-Man out of the Roxxon private prison. Then I think he's going to be like, hey, so I have a lab that essentially allows me to keep tabs on the future. And I got an alert on the lab computer saying that something was wrong in the future. So I tried to go to the future to fix everything, and it wouldn't let me go because essentially nothing was there. The Earth was gone. There was nothing for me to travel to. And from what I can understand, the Hulk is about to get transformed into like this giant version of the Hulk because he gets possessed by this like mysterious being. And if we don't essentially cure Bruce Banner of like the Hulk, like if we can't get rid of the Hulk side of Banner, he's going to become this godlike being and destroy the Earth. So essentially, what I'm saying is the future catastrophe that Spider-Man 2099 is trying to get Spider-Man to help him with is the immortal Hulk becoming possessed by the One Below All. I feel like that'd be a very natural way to connect those stories together. Now, I feel like what Spider-Man. Oh wait, I have more. I have more. So, Spider-Man 2099 could be like, so my plan is if we separate Banner from the Hulk and then we take down the Hulk, we'll be able to stop this mysterious being from possessing the Hulk. It may not be that they're gonna take down the Hulk, but maybe Spider-Man 2099 knows when Bruce Banner's gonna get possessed. Like maybe he's like, I know that at this moment he's gonna get possessed, but if we somehow could separate Bruce Banner and the Hulk and make them 2 individual beings, the mysterious being could possess Banner, which would make Banner like an asshole but more or less harmless, and then we wouldn't have to worry about big giant Hulk just like wrecking everything. So Spider-Man 2099 could be like, I know that you were bit by like a radioactive spider that was able to like merge your genetics because 2099, the way that he got his powers is that he did a bunch of research on Spider-Man and tried to replicate like the Spider-Man experiment on himself, but it ended up working differently. So he could be like, I know that how you got your powers, and I think if we were able to use that device, we could separate Bruce and the Hulk in time for the possession, so that the Hulk doesn't get possessed, but Banner gets possessed, which is relatively harmless, and we can like deal with Banner, but we can't deal with like possessed Hulk. But he's like, but I have no idea where the device is because the future records don't have like literally all the information, and I don't have access to the device. And I really don't know how the device works. To which then Spider-Man could be like, I know where it is, I have access to it, and I know how to use it because I used it to fuse myself back together. That one time I got split. Don't ask. So then I could see Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2099 going to Doc Connor's lab to get the device so that they could then fire it at the Hulk, which they do. I think they successfully split Banner and the Hulk into two individual beings. But then one thing that they didn't count on is that without Banner holding him back, the Hulk is just like an unstoppable rage machine. So the Hulk is just like going around just hitting random stuff. So they try to like calm Hulk down, but in the end, Hulk just gets even madder and he hits the radiation splicer, and it changes from separating beings back to putting them back together. So when he hits the splicer, the radiation from it hits Hulk and Spider Man, fusing them together into Hulk Spider Man. I think that might happen in this one shot. That's my theory for what could occur. And the theory is based off of things that have happened in Spider-Man comics and things that have happened in the Immortal Hulk comics recently, and how they could like fold into each other. What are your thoughts on the theory? What do you think is going to happen instead? And what like theories and speculation do you have like going on in your mind? Definitely let me know in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching. If you guys like this video, make sure to smash that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe, and ding ding ding, ring that notification bell to be notified whenever we do these videos. The show's friend, your boy, Jetblack going only, logging out. Peace. Check it out.